I hope that you had a wonderful lunch and that you're ready to do something very fun. But first, let's review, okay? We have some class rules that help everything run smoothly and safely. So let's review quickly. I will listen when others are speaking. Can you repeat? I will listen when others are speaking. So if I'm speaking, you're not speaking. If you're speaking, I'm listening. I will keep my hands to myself. Will you repeat?
I will keep my hands to myself.
That means keeping your hands in your space, not touching friends. And I will give my tasks my best effort. That means you'll work as hard as you can. Do your best. So, will you repeat after me? I will give my work my best effort.
I will give my work my best effort.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. So, I have a little something here to share with you. So, this is a jar filled with little Orbeez. They're just little jelly balls.
Yeah, we know.
You're familiar with Orbeez?
Yeah, we know.
Eat them for breakfast.
Okay.
Not eat them for
So what I would like you to do is whisper into your hand how many balls you predict are inside of this jar. How many Orbeez did I put inside of this jar? Whisper it in your hand.
100.
Oh, we're not calling out. We're whispering in our hand. I thank you so much for whispering in your hand. Okay, Logan, how many little Orbeez do you think I put in this jar?
I think about somewhere around 11,000. Not 11,000. 1,000 and 100.
1,100?
I think around somewhere about that. Yeah, like
Okay.
1,100.
1,100. And Marco, how many do you think are in here?
100.
100. Well, I'm here to tell you there are 1,000 Orbeez in this jar.
You didn't count them all.
I did.
Let's see.
I did. Let's hold our thoughts for the moment while I'm talking, okay?
You had to spend half your day doing it.
So the reason that I put 1,000 in here, because that's how many baby seahorses are born at one time. Think about a human. Typically a human has 1, 2, maybe 3 babies at a time.
Maybe 100,000,999.
It's my turn to speak right now, okay? You'll have your turn. But seahorses, they have 1,000 babies. But seahorse, do you even know what a seahorse is? Logan, it looks like you have something to share.
A seahorse is a type of fish.
Okay,
It's a special fish.
It's an animal that lives in the
What?
ocean. Marco, excuse me. Logan is still speaking. If you have something to share, please just raise your hand, okay? Go ahead, finish.
Seahorses are unique species of fish. They're fish, but they're not like a normal typical fish. They're a unique fish.
I like
a special species.
how you use the word unique from our word wall because that goes into our next discussion. Do you remember our vocabulary lesson from last week? Marco, do you have something to share?
Well, a fish evolving into a seahorse.
No, fish do not evolve into seahorses. They are different species. But we are going to learn all about seahorses. So maybe you can hold your questions for this chart that I'm about to explain because we're going to put all the questions that we have about seahorses up here. But right now, we want to go back to Logan's word of unique. Do you remember these image cards from last week? Can you nod yes or no? Have you seen these before? Yes or no? Okay. So I'm going to flash up the cards real quickly, and we're going to do a review of what vocabulary word the image represents. And if you need a help, there's a hint over here at the word wall, okay? So this one, what was this?
Night.
And what does he do?
Protect.
Protect. Do you remember this? Habitat, all the different places living things can live. Unique. A unicorn is unique.
Capture.
Do you remember this one?
Capture.
Do you remember this one, Marco? What's happening with the butterflies? Releasing. And this was a tricky one.
Characteristic.
Characteristics for describing the person. Okay, can you please find your bottoms in your seats and your listening ears on? It sounds like you guys have a great understanding of our vocabulary words. So now we're going to move on to start our reading lesson. But first, I want to ask, we did some vocabulary last week. We just talked a little bit about seahorses. Do either of you know anything about seahorses? Have you ever heard about them? Have you ever seen them? Do you know where they live?
I know where they live.
Marco, we're not calling out, sweetheart. If you can please raise your hand. Thank you so much for raising your hand quietly, Logan. What do you know about seahorses?
I know that seahorses have they're very special. They're unique because they're different because they have like a little like mouth like thing, and they kind of have like little wings on their back, but they don't use them to fly. It's like they use those to swim, and they have a really special like curled hair, and they're just really unique overall because they have all sorts of characteristics that make them unique, and they're just very special and different from any other fish.
Well said. So on our chart over here, I'm putting what Logan just wrote, that we know that seahorses have unique characteristics. Marco, do you have something to add? Is there anything that you know about seahorses?
I know they live in water.
Exactly. Do you know what kind of water? Can they live in fresh water, or do they live in salt water, or does it matter?
Do they live in clean water?
Clean water. They specifically live in the ocean, salt water.
You can't drink this water at all.
Okay, Logan, could you please write one more thing that you know, if you know anything else about seahorses, and you as well, Marco, could you please write one more thing that you know to be true about seahorses? If you know anything. Okay, that's fine too. Just seeing if anyone knows anything else. We know that they live in the ocean. We know that they have unique characteristics. I'm going to add that I know they are quite small.
One that lives in water.
We did already talk about them living in the water. And just another moment, did you have anything else to add?
I'm thinking if I do.
Okay, if you
I
come
know
up with something we can
what
add, it's my turn right now, okay? Do you hear me speaking?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for letting me have my turn. So we came up with some ideas right now. If you come up with more, just write them on your little notepads. But we're gonna move on to our next column. Is there anything that we want to know? Think quietly to yourself, and I'm gonna do that as well. Is there anything that I would like to know about seahorses? I would like to know if there's many of them alive. Marco, do you have anything that you would like to know about seahorses? I think earlier you had a question, right?
Go on.
Mm-hmm.
Just one moment, and I would love for you to share. What did you want to know about seahorses? Do they evolve? Or maybe, was that your question?
Yeah.
Or maybe, how are they born? How are seahorses born? We know they don't evolve. They don't come from fish. They're their own species. But how are they born?
I know how they're born.
Oh, you have an idea? You have a prediction?
Mm-hmm. It's just one adult seahorse. So basically, this is the mama, and this is the mama, and the mama, like this seahorse egg, and then it cracked up, and then it looked like this, and then when it turns into this, it evolves.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so you predict, or you believe, that a mother seahorse has an egg, the egg opens, the seahorse is born, and it grows, or like you said, it evolves into an adult. Is that what you said? That is a very interesting theory. Logan, what do you have to share?
I have two. One fact that we know about
You
them.
can come at it.
So, one fact that we talked about in this beginning is that they can have 1,000 babies at a time.
Ah, you remember that detail from our previous
And
lesson.
I have another one.
Tell me.
Also, another something we know about them that's special is that pretty much most of the animals in the world, the mother has the baby, but instead the male has the baby.
Wow, you have a lot of prior knowledge about seahorses. Tim, you can add it to the bottom right here. That's perfect. Okay, was there anything before we move on and get started? I'm very excited to get started, but before we do get started, is there anything else that we would like to know?
I know sharks live in water.
Okay, that's an interesting fact. Logan, thank you for raising your hand.
I would like
appreciate
to
that.
know. I always want to know, why do they look like that? Why do they look like they kind of have wings, and why do they have like a little like thing going down their back, kind of like a horse? And why do they have like that tail that curls up?
This is what
Why do they look so not so unusual, so like out of the ordinary?
I see. So it sounds like you're wondering if there's a usefulness for some of their characteristics. That's a wonderful question. Okay, so we have quite a few things that we would like to find out. And so I'm gonna read first. I'm just so excited to get started that I'm gonna read a little bit first, but I'm also gonna ask you some questions, and I have a little demonstration to share. And then I'm gonna pause halfway through, and we're gonna go to our meeting spot to finish. So while I'm reading, I would really appreciate if you're listening for answers, right? To find out all the answers to the questions that we want to know. And at the end, we need to summarize what we learned. We're going to know so much about seahorses. We're gonna have to be able to repeat that, to share that, okay? So I want you thinking while I'm reading, visualize the images of the story as you hear me reading, okay? All right, seahorses. The seahorse is a unique fish that is found in oceans all around the world. They can be less than an inch long, but some can grow over a foot long. So I have a little chart here so we can visually see that. Right here is 1 inch. Some seahorses can be this small. Other seahorses are this large, up to a foot. That's a very large range in size, right?
Maybe the full-on adults, like the fully grown one, are 1 foot, and maybe the babies that the male just had are 1 inch.
That's an interesting prediction.
Hypothesis.
I like that. Okay, now it's my turn to read again. We have our listening ears on, visualizing what I'm reading. Seahorses move in a unique way. They use their back dorsal fins to move forward and backward. This fin moves 30 to 70 times a second. Can you try to move your arms 30 to 70 times a second? Let's make sure we have enough space. It would be just like so fast. I don't think that's very fast.
Look at how fast mine can go.
Yeah. Okay, please find your way back to your seat. So that's very fast. They use something else to move up and down in the water. The seahorse has a special pocket inside of its body that fills with air. It's called a swim bladder. When they want to move up, they pull in air. When they want to go down, they move the air out. So we are going to take a balloon real quick and see exactly what that would look like.
This
Okay.
is another animal that can go out and it doesn't die, and then but if they stay out for too long, then they die. But if they don't stay out for too long, this is how a frog lives in water.
Next time you have something to share, I would appreciate if you raise your hand to let me know that you have something to share, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I would like your attention so I can just tell you a couple details quickly, okay?
Okay.
When we have the balloon, we're using it for our demonstration. We're not chewing on it, we're not hitting people with it, and we're trying very hard to not blow it up and let it fly around the room. What we are doing, watch how I do this, okay? We're going to put our mouth on the opening. Logan, are you watching? Thank you so much. Oh, I see all the eyes on me. I feel so important. I feel like everyone is listening to me. So I put my mouth on the opening and blow it up like a seahorse. The seahorse went up, 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 but now he wants to go down. So
I
please,
can try.
I'm going to let everyone have a turn. I'm going to show one more time though, because we want to use this properly, right? So we're going to blow a little bit of air, holding it tightly so it does not fly away, and then the seahorse went down. Okay, so here's your balloon. Here's your balloon. And you can go ahead and practice that. Blowing the air in, filling up the seahorse's swim bladder, and then slowly releasing the air in the swim bladder.
It didn't land my face.
Once you get the air in the balloon, it's very important to pinch it because otherwise it does blow back at you. So if you pinch it, that allows you to, there you go, perfect.
Mom, look how little it's out.
Okay, it looks like you both were able to fill your swim bladder and empty it. Okay. Another special characteristic that the seahorse possesses is the shape of their tail. Most animal tails are circular. Dogs, monkeys, cats, all of them have circular tails. But a seahorse's tail is square-shaped. Since the seahorse can wrap its tail around the object, scientists think having a square-shaped tail helps the seahorse grab onto things. Okay, can I have those back? Maybe at the end of the lesson, but right now I need them back. It was just for the demonstration. Thank you for being such a good listener. I really appreciate that. It seems like you guys enjoyed that. Okay, but let's look at these. So they say most animals have a circular tail. So most of the animals' tails would look like this, but not the seahorse. The seahorse has the square-shaped tail. And they say it allows them to grab on, just like these seahorses are grabbing onto the seaweed. Okay, class. So now we're going to go to the meeting spot. So now this is where we're going to read together. I have a copy for each of you. And this paragraph is a very important paragraph because it has a focus. And so I really want you to pay attention to the details. And each of you, here's your copy. Here's your copy. So I know that we've done this before, but I just wanted to remind you guys that we randomly choose out of here who is going to start reading. And then I'll put their name up here so we know that they've had their turn. They're going to read until they want. If they want to read one sentence, two sentences, all the sentences, you can read as much as you'd like. When you're done reading and you would like a friend to take over, you just pause and choose a friend to pick up where you left off, okay?
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay, so,
Why did my face ring blank?
it's okay. All right, so our first reader today, it looks like the winner is Logan. So when Logan's reading, he has everyone's attention and nobody else is speaking, just Logan. Okay, Logan, so the beginning of the passage starts with one of the most interesting facts. Would you like to start for us?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
One of the most.
Oh, it's okay, our paper fell. I'll just keep it here. Okay, let's give Logan our attention while he reads, okay? And you can just follow along as he's reading. All right, Logan, you have our attention. And again, you're reading for as long or as little as you'd like.
One of the most interesting facts about seahorse is how much responsibility the male seahorse has in caring for his unborn babies. Although the female seahorse is responsible for laying the eggs, it's the male seahorse that grows them inside a small space on his body.
Marco, I'm sorry, I need to interrupt you for one moment. You are being very disrupting.
I'm hot.
The paper is not to be waved in people's faces, okay? Thank you. We hold our paper like this, and we're following along with our finger as our friend is reading, and we're being very respectful while he reads, okay? You can just put the paper in your lap like this. All right, Logan, I'm sorry for interrupting. Please finish.
Called a brood pouch. After about 2 weeks, the baby seahorse are released. They look exactly like their parents, just smaller. Up to 1,000 seahorses are born at once. With numbers like that, we should have billions of seahorses in the ocean, but we don't. One explanation is that right after a seahorse is born, they are on their own. Their parents do not help them find food to eat or protect them from predators. As a result, only 1% survive. That means if 1,000 seahorses are born, only 10 survive. If humans are also harming the seahorses' habitat, we are littering and trash is causing harm to their ocean home.
Wow, you read the whole passage for us. Marco, do you have any thoughts about what Logan had read? Or were there any words that you wanted to talk about or anything to share? Did you learn anything about seahorses? I cannot believe that only 1% of them survive.
And that's if they're lucky.
That's a very little amount, right?
I can't believe that their parents leave them alone.
That's hard to believe as well. Usually the parents stay with the young for many species for quite some time.
But now with like kids like Logan.
He still needs his parent, doesn't he?
When he goes to school, he walks by himself down the street all the way to home.
Yeah, but he's not a baby anymore. But usually babies need their parents. I found that interesting as well. And I also found it interesting that I don't think I've ever seen a seahorse in real life. Have you?
No,
Well.
but I know what the color looks like.
So you've seen them somewhere. What were you gonna share, Logan?
No, but I've seen places where I think they might live, because when we went snorkeling, when I went snorkeling, I've seen like a reef, and I went to a reef, and I think I saw like an area, and I think maybe that's a place where a male and female could settle and have their babies.
It sounds like you've seen a seahorse habitat. I have a treat for you guys. Find your way back to your chair and I'm going to show you a real life seahorse video. For finding your way back to your seats so quickly, and as promised, here is a video. We're listening, watching with our eyes of a real life seahorse.
That was something like that when I do. Looks like a snake. Look, it's holding the glass.
Yeah, it looks like whenever it moves, it looks like whenever it moves, its tail holds onto the grass.
So it just like flow all the way up.
That's so cool. This little fin on the back.
His dorsal fin. They're so cute.
Oh, are those the eggs?
Nope, those are just the seahorses existing. The eggs are stored there. It's his pouch, right? His brood pouch. That's where the eggs are stored. And that's them up, up, up. He's filling his swim bladder.
I wonder what they're doing. Like what the babies are doing. Or when they're born, they're all together.
So just little tiny eggs floating around.
Because they don't know where the parents are.
If the parents don't protect them, right?
If 100% of the
That looks like that looks like a wall, like a slow seedle, but that's the seedle. That looks like a seedle. I can't remember the name. A seedle.
What were you saying?
you know what? If all the 100% of the seahorses did survive in this time, then the ecosystem wouldn't work because there'd be way too many seahorses in the whole ocean.
That's a very interesting point. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I feel like one moment I learned a lot. What would you like to share?
I think maybe more of the seahorses would survive maybe if the babies stayed together and tried to work together to survive and find food.
I like
So they can go bigger and stronger so they can take care of themselves.
Okay, so now my turn to talk. We're going to try to complete the learned side of our chart. And I know for me, I learned something, and that is only 1%. My turn to talk. 1% survive. That is not very many at all. Logan, was there anything that you learned? Find your seat, please.
I learned that I learned the name of what that little fin is called.
What is it called?
It was called it was something fin. Or fin was.
Do you want to look back at the text? And right here. They use their back
dorsal fin.
dorsal fins. There you
I can
go.
see way better, Mom, now.
And Marco, do you have anything to add to the learned list? Did you learn anything from the video or our reading that you'd like to share?
Well, one, the parents don't protect the babies.
You learned that the parents don't protect the babies.
Well, I can see way better, Mom. No, I can't. I can see way better. No, I can't. No.
Oh, you're pretending to wear glasses. Okay, now, almost done with this lesson. We have one final thing. If you remember last week, we did a pre-reading questionnaire, and I asked you some questions, and you wrote whether you agreed with them or whether you disagreed. Some of them were true, some of them were false. That was before you read the informational text. That was before we learned all of these details. That was before we reviewed our vocabulary. So now you're going to go back. I'm going to pass out your same assessment from last time, and you're going to reevaluate these statements. Do not look at the first column. You're reading the statement and thinking now, based on the informational text that we read, do you agree with these statements or do you not agree? You'll also notice...
I don't get any of them.
Okay, so this one is Logan's. If you have a question, I would like you to just raise your hand. So the directions are to read the statement, answer in the right-hand side, agree or disagree. If you have any questions, you'll raise your hand. If you get finished early, I have another activity where we're going to create a sequence story map for the baby seahorse. What the first stage is, what the second stage is, but this is only if you get finished. So I'm going to allow you some quiet to take 5 minutes to reevaluate these statements and determine whether you agree with them or disagree. Yep, so you just go down here, and with this one, you would put an A for agree or a D for disagree. So the statement is, seahorses are found in oceans all around the world. Do you agree? Then you would put an A there. Yes, okay.
I know we learned that not a majority of them survive. So would we say A? So would we say A to they're in danger of becoming extinct?
What do you think?
Mama.
So again, if you finish early, here is the next. Okay, the next question. One reason seahorses are distinct is their square-shaped tail. Do you agree that they have square tails? Then you would write an agree.
A B?
An A. A for agree.
Last time, I think the only thing I would change is that I learned is that they're found in oceans all around the world. Other than that, each one of my answers I still think is that.
Hold that up because we're actually about to talk about that. So just go ahead and flip this over to our discussion. And we can get started on this. Where you're sequencing what happens first, then next, last. Okay, Marco, let's move on here. The majority of seahorses survive after they're born. Do you think they all survive? We learned that only 1% survive. So would you agree with this? Do the majority of them survive?
skipped the time.
Do you agree that we'll come back, it's okay, we're on a move. Do you agree that the majority of seahorses survive?
Wait, sorry.
Do you agree with that statement? The majority of seahorses survive? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Then you would write an A. And then we'll leave this for later, okay? Okay, wonderful. Wow, you both worked so hard and so quickly. I appreciate that. So now that everyone is finished, you can put your story map to the side. I'm glad that you got started on that so easily. And now I would like you to take a look at your assessment. And I would like you to compare. Logan had already started to share his thoughts with me. I want you to look at the first column from your before reading and then look at your after reading. Did any of your opinions change? Did you learn anything? Were your thoughts challenged? What would you like to share? I think you said what? You changed one of your responses based
Other
on your
than that, I
reading?
think most of them before were very accurate.
So you had a lot of knowledge already. Tell me.
Actually, it could be that, but also what I've learned from other animals, I took also a lot from that. Like this one, I think I can understand getting wrong, but I think that from what I've learned, something like that's not very having a square shaped tail isn't very isn't very common. So already I would think that it's very distinct, and I already would think, but before I just didn't think that it would take a year for the babies to be born.
That would be a long time.
And then
So it sounds like you're using the
what I've learned
vocabulary
from
knowledge from this lesson, but also knowledge about other living things, right?
Yeah, like other animals, like some other animals, they don't protect their babies either when they're born.
I see. So I'm wondering, do you think it's helpful to compare your initial opinion to your thoughts after you've read the text?
What?
Do you think it's helpful to compare those answers?
Yeah, a little bit.
Why?
Because since I compare them, I know if I ever have something like this ever again, I'll know these were close, but these are the right answers.
It gives you an opportunity to reflect and kind of sift through what you take as truth, as factual information. Marco, could you please tell me, do you agree that seahorses are unique? Now that we've learned all this information, we've learned about their characteristics, where they live, their size, how many of them survive, about their tails, would you agree that they are unique? Yes. Can you tell me why?
Because why they're unique is because there's one reason all about this was not unique. I hold it. Is what I'm reading is why I could in the video I could tell what it was unique is it was how it moves, and because of the dots and stuff, and really much it can hold on to things. And it's because it circles
It's called its tail.
I'm not talking about tail, I'm talking about snap. And then it can do things and stuff that people
It's not his turn, we're being respectful, right?
So they can't see it all. So that's what's unique about them.
There's a lot, yeah, you're right. And one of the things we read a lot about was what you said, how they move, right? They use that fin to go one direction, and then they use the swim bladder to go a different direction. Well, you guys, you did so wonderful today. Can you give me a high five? Thank you for your hard work.